Learn to be super successful. Subscribe to my channel, Meathead.
So Netflix was shipping 1.6 million DVDs per day, and how they were different from Blockbuster at this time was that they were a lot faster than Blockbuster. So Blockbuster would take ideally 3 days to get the DVDs to the client, whereas Netflix would use the first class mail. So they were also one of the top 10 clients of the post office because they were sending so many DVDs out by first class mail. By 2007, Netflix announced that it planned to reach 95% of customers within 1 day service by the end of 2007. Another thing Netflix did was they started having deals with producers. So producers, movie studios.
So it wasn't until, what year was this when they started making the movies themselves?
That was a lot later. So this is not a latest, we're not talking in the current time frame. This is from 2001 to 6.
Okay.
And we are considering to buy them in 2007.
Okay.
So on the verge of the video on demand and all that.
Okay.
Which we now know has developed. So Netflix also made deals with the producers and the studios, so that right from after the theaters to when the movie comes out on cable, in between was the window for Netflix to have it on their platform.
Mm-hmm.
So producers made an arrangement with them in which they would provide movies to them at cost if they would share the subscription revenue with the producers, which would support their films. Netflix also began a red envelope independent movie distribution and production company supporting small films, which we now know they've gotten into much bigger projects and films. Netflix also added to its system, to their website, a queuing system. So they copied it basically from Amazon. They modeled it on Amazon, and their software algorithm started tracking as a subscriber what kind of movies you like, what kind of things you watch, and they would show you according to that. And they put a patent on it, which Blockbuster also tried to copy, and Netflix sued them successfully, and they had to take it down. So this was another edge that they had on the Blockbuster, which was still a bigger company than them, but their website, their interface was a lot more addictive and a lot more suggestive and a lot more fun for their subscribers. So Netflix used its online recommendation system to help customers. Customers received individual recommendations for titles. Fast turnaround for Netflix, as far as the mailing the DVDs went, was the key for their success, but also a big challenge, just because it was so hard to do with so many DVDs. The customer satisfaction depended on this fast turnaround. And at this point, there were a lot of subscribers that were ordering a lot more DVDs than the others.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2003, they faced a class action suit by a client who tracked one of his friends' mailing, like DVDs being mailed to him and his own. So he noted that if you ordered more DVDs from Netflix, they would send it to you slower. And if you ordered less DVDs, for example, 2 or 3, then they would send you much faster. So he sued them for false advertising, saying that it's not really unlimited DVDs per month because they would send it to you slower if you're ordering more DVDs. So the guy got paid only $2,000 and a free subscription, but they paid, Netflix had to pay $2.5 million in legal fees. So Netflix settled the suit in 2005. So by January 2007, Netflix faced a threat from Blockbuster, which had developed a new rental service that combined, this is what we spoke about before, they combined the mailing business and the retail business. So Blockbuster clients had the option for both, whereas Netflix clients only had option for one. But the So Blockbuster was the largest brick and mortar video rental company, had eliminated late fees in most of its stores, and by 2006 they had created this total access service which included mailing and the rental service. Although Blockbuster stores had become a liability for them. That was the main, because not many people, considering with all this mailing system, not many people were going into their stores. And they had a lot of stores. This was 2000 well, at the end of 2003, they had about 5,600 stores. And by 2006, they had reduced it to 4,000 stores. And by 2007, they had announced that they were going to reduce it even
now,
more.
back on this time frame, they were using before the reduction of stores, they were using that they were a real estate play, the share price, not dissimilar to McDonald's, because they owned, a jillion of these stores and real estate value. But, and then, as you aptly pointed out, when the people stopped coming to the stores.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
I remember going into Blockbuster. Now, I knew Wayne Huizenga, one of the founders of Blockbuster, who was a roller-upper extraordinary, just passed away, a criminal asshole, used to be with the Cleveland mob. His claim to fame was that as a collector for the union at the Cleveland Steelworks, one of the guys didn't want to pay. He hit him with a wrench and then put a wrench on his balls and drug him across the parking lot by the balls. And then from that point forward, everybody paid. But at his funeral, Mr. Huizenga was talked about like Moses. Moses didn't do as much for mankind as Wayne Huizenga. And he did a lot of great shit. When you get close to the end of your life, like I keep telling you. But Blockbuster, I still remember going to Blockbuster and the boxes would be empty. You'd go to, I went this, it's out. There is no more. That must have been in the 80s. But it was a great concept. But and Wayne Huizenga is a great example of an icon that did not one roll-up, not two roll-ups, but 6 or 8 roll-ups in his career. So go ahead.
So the stores became a liability for Blockbuster. Blockbuster also made a couple of other strategic mistakes. Like, for example, they were approached by Warner Brothers to offer the same kind of deal that Netflix later negotiated with the studios, but Blockbuster turned it down. They also turned down to buy Netflix in 2002-03 for about $50 million.
Wow. Now that's a regret.
Right.
Big time.
Blockbuster added several twists. It allowed customers to run a mail title to a local store, giving customers, we've spoken about this. Blockbuster's own online service put additional pressure on the profitability of its US stores, so their own stores, and also so Netflix and Blockbuster together put a lot of pressure on their physical stores. Nobody was going into the stores. So Netflix customer growth was slower in 2006 than it had been in prior years, and the company had increased its spending on advertising. Now, after 2006, this is the key point when video on demand came out. So even though it looked in theory very promising, but the main problem with video on demand, because it eliminated all their cost of postage and handling and all that. But the main problem was there was no fast internet. So it would take ideally to download a high definition movie, it would take like 3 hours to download it. So only the fiber optics internet could handle streaming a film. Or you had to go with really low quality, which people didn't enjoy. Also, they didn't have a Netflix app on television. So you couldn't watch it on the television. You had to watch it on your small laptop or your small computer. They didn't have the big screens. So that was a drawback, and nobody actually thought video on demand would be very big. So Netflix launched initially, so number of unresolved problems. This was the video on demand large files. In mid-January 2007, they had about 1,000 films. By the end of 2007, they were planning to have 5,000 films, which was not a lot. Those paying $18 would receive 18 hours each month of video on demand content.
How does Netflix work now?
It's all video on demand.
$10.
No, but I mean, I know I've got all these icons in my office,
Right.
but I mean, and one of them is Netflix. I'm not sure I ever pushed it yet, but I mean, so
Subscription.
So I pay a subscription for that.
It's
thing.
$10
I got HBO and I got a bunch of other ones. Okay.
Right. So if you click on the app, it's going to ask you to sign in. So because you don't have a subscription, or maybe you have it.
We have
then
one.
you-
I know.
Right. So
I go, Kim, EJ. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's about $10, and they actually have 140 million subscribers. So they've got $1.4 billion.
Now, if 50 million subscribers all at once doesn't that clog their system up?
No, sir. No.